morning. My name's Kerry Mackenzie, and I'd like to welcome you all here today to celebrate the life of Barry William Thomas Stevenson. Barry passed away peacefully on the 28th of August 2024 at the age of 88. Barry's family have been with him constantly leading up to his passing. Barry's family have been very grateful for the support and thoughts that they have received, and they thank you all for your kindness during this sad time. Barry's family want this to be a celebration of his life, and they hope you enjoy hearing some of the stories of Barry's life. I'd also like to welcome you, those of you who are joining us via live stream. Your presence, even from a distance, means a great deal. If you could honour Barry today in a way that is meaningful to you, or, as Barry would like, with a 4X. Barry's son Brian will now come forward to tell the story of Brian's life on behalf of himself and his brother Graham.
Good morning. My father Barry was born in Ingham. His father was William Stevenson and his mother was Lillian Myers. Ingham is in Queensland, so Barry was a Queenslander. And if you didn't know Barry was a Queenslander, you probably didn't know him all that well. He spent his young life up at Ingham, and some of the stories he told me from there was going fishing with his father. Remember, this is just near the Barrier Reef, and also playing near the cane fields. There's cane fields around Ingham. He would also go next door where there was an Italian family, and that's where he got to eat spaghetti. So he did like spaghetti, and that was with his younger sister Jocelyn, okay? And Jocelyn is joining us from the Gold Coast, or looking at this stream. He told me one of his best friendships in Ingham was with a young Aboriginal boy, and he sort of regrets that he didn't keep the friendship up. But this young Aboriginal boy became, I think, a Queenslander or even Australian champion boxer, and has done well. Keith Payne also went to the same school that he did in Ingham. Soon after, he went to Longreach, and I think this was about the war years, and Barry tends to identify a lot with Longreach in central Western Queensland. He also, this is the time he went to school, and he went to school in Brisbane, to Brisbane Boys College, and then it was back out to Longreach. In Brisbane Boys College, he used to tell me about the rowing, the annual regatta, and the other thing he really liked was cadets. Back in Longreach, he played cricket at a high level, and he was also picked for a representative side for central Western Queensland, and I think even for country, but he couldn't actually complete that from what I was told. He had to go to work. He also played rugby league quite competitively as well, and he was a very sporting person. He got a job as a stock and station agent, and I think it was with Winchcombe Carson or Dalgety, one or the other, but anyway, he enjoyed that, and he used to tell me stories of going out to the properties, working as a stock and station agent, and I really thought he wanted to be on the land. There is another part of the Stevenson family. Kathy, you're streaming, or looking at this through streaming. The rich Stevensons were on the land in Longreach, and the poorer Stevensons, which were us, were in town. He was also picked to do national service, or his number came up, and unfortunately never followed through. And that's something else that he's regretted. He's never actually was in the army. He did his national service, but he made up for that later on. He met my mother, Patricia Wheeler, in Longreach. My mother was a nurse at Longreach Base Hospital, and they met and then soon came to Sydney in 1960. I was born in 1960, and my brother, who's sitting here in the front, Graham, he was born a few years later in 1963. They moved to Smithfield, and my father then was a publican at the the Victoria Hotel. I lived upstairs, and I think that's where I got my passion for alcohol. And the Victoria Hotel's not there anymore. It's been knocked down, and it's now the Smithfield Tavern, so that's still there. But we were there until 1965, and then we moved to Kingsgrove to live, and then my father was the publican at the South Hurstville Hotel. That's now known as the King's Head Tavern. My father was also involved in cricket here in Sydney. He played, I should have said, for the Victoria Hotel team, and I remember he got Gough Whitlam out to open, I think, something at the Oval there, and he introduced Gough. My father liked being with politicians, and when he was at South Hurstville, he also played for the AHA, and they used to have an annual cricket day against WASTRA, the Wine and Spirits Trading Association, and twice he played on the Sydney cricket ground. So we really loved that. He never got a baggy green, but he loved his cricket. And well, a little bit more about that. In South Hurstville, he also got to know the Stones at Stones Butchery. Is Greg here? He said he was going to turn up. Okay, and then in 1975, the hotel was sold. It was to the Ferris brothers, and then he proceeded to Kingsgrove RSL. Okay, in approximately 1975, he became the secretary manager of Kingsgrove RSL, and then he proceeded to build that club, and he was involved in lots of in a lot of areas of the club. He was very busy, and we have the general manager of the club here, Ian, right now. Thank you. He was involved in a number of performances they used to have at the club, included acts like the Platters and Diana Ross in a small suburban club. And he was also involved, I said he liked meeting Prime Ministers. Bob Hawke went to the club for a function, and my father sat next to him, and what they talked about was cricket. That was something in common that they had. He was also involved in the fishing club at Kingsgrove, and that's where he took me fishing as well. So I started to go out fishing with him, mostly down at Shoalhaven Heads, where Kingsgrove had units. He got involved in the Club Managers Association and became a life member of that. He was trustee, and he also was involved in doing a lot of fundraising. And I think it was for the Ted Knopfs. I might be incorrect there, but they raised millions of dollars. My father was integral to that fundraising when he was there. He also, at my brother's school, he was the president of the P&C for a number of years. And he also raised quite a lot of money for the deaf community, either for the school at Farrer in Croydon Park or for the Junior Federation for Deaf. Okay, and I remember part of that was selling raffle tickets for him when I was aged about, 10. And I'd go out with two of my friends, Ken. Where are you, Ken? Remember selling raffle tickets? Do you? Yes, and Trevor was the other one, and we were raising money at 10, knocking on doors, and you could do that back in those days. I went then to Trinity Grammar School, and my father then was on the Parents and Friends, which is like the P&C, and he was involved in a number of fundraising efforts there. Okay, I've got to... Yes, okay. Look, I got in later years, Barry became very family-oriented, especially when my children came along, Carl and Gemma, and he started to be very involved with them, especially with Carl, with his sport, with cricket, and he used to be there at just about every game. And the other thing he was involved in was Penshurst RSL. He was on the board there. In 2015, I went to Gallipoli with him. Our great-grandfather, his grandfather, had fought at Gallipoli, and then went to the Western Front, where we went to, and he died there. We visited his grave. My father was very proud of his grandfather from his military history. Unfortunately, Barry passed away from a long illness, which was prostate cancer, but he had 9.5 years where his oncologist said he had 3 to 5. So I think he had a very good innings. If we talk in cricket terms, I think he'd like us to do that. And I really helped him out in those last 2 or 3 years. Unfortunately, I've got prostate cancer as well, but that's really helped me work with my father and help him get the best treatment that was possible. I'd just like to make some thank yous here to Sarah, who has put the music, what do you call it, slideshow, which is coming up. Thank you very much, and has put together the brochure. Bow and Clarence, who has collected some people here today. Thank you to Robin for looking after Barry. Thank you to Inez for your support, my wife. And I've got to thank my dad. I just want to say thank you. Thank everyone here who's turned up. There'll be lunch provided. I think you're going to say that. But please turn up for lunch after the end of the service. Thank you.
Poor old Gough. Not only did he get taken out by the Governor-General, but also Barry. Enz is going to come forward and share a few words with us today as well.
Yeah, I'm actually here on behalf of Leslie Moses. She'd like to say her goodbyes to Barry, so I'll be reading this out. Barry, my darling, for 20 years you have been my friend, companion and lover. We cherish a lot of memories. I am grateful you came into my life. You are and will be my true love. We will be together in heaven. The angels are looking after you. All my love, Leslie. Thank you.
We did have a chuckle, Brian and I, before we came in, and he said, do we leave the hat with Barry? And he said, is there beer in heaven? I said, of course there's beer in heaven. Not sure about the 4X though. Brian's grandchildren, Gemma and Carl, will come forward and share memories of their pa, spoken by Gemma, supported by Carl.
Okay, hello. So when trying to find the words to write, I noticed there was no shortage of memories and stories about Pa. As I reminisced on these memories, I began to think about what a privilege it is for Kyle and I to be in our 30s and have such a long relationship with a grandparent, as I know that isn't always the case. With so many memories, I've chosen just a special few I would like to briefly mention that summed up my relationship with Pa. Growing up, Pa spoiled us. We had plenty of trips to Kingsgrove Sports for Carl, and Pa always had some lollies hidden away for me. I say hidden because I can remember a time when Mum specifically told him not to buy me any lollies one afternoon. And I don't know how it happened, but I ended up with a bag of lollies in the back seat of the car and Pa looking at me in the eyes and telling me not to tell Mum about this. This was often the case with Pa. He would go above and beyond, showing interest and unwavering support for any hobbies, sports or activities Kyle or I were into. I will always value our ability to have an honest conversation. Generations apart, believe it or not, we often clash views. It seemed we had no issues going head-to-head with differing opinions without fear of it affecting our respect for each other or our relationship. Carl and I will never doubt the love Pa had for us. His dedication and commitment to us was consistent, unwavering, and had no boundaries. Pa always encouraged us to do our best, to work hard, and to be brave. You will be missed. I love you.
Thank you. Very hard to speak about your Pa. They're very special. Sarah has put together, well, I must say, Sarah, thank you, because yesterday at 4 o'clock she rang me. She said, "Are we doing an order of service?" I said, "Don't know." So from 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon till 9 o'clock, they worked on that order of service, and they've done a lovely job, and thank you very much. She has put together a photo presentation highlighting some of the great days in Barry's life. Please use this time to remember him.
I've been around the world a couple of times or maybe more. Seen the sights, I've had delights on every foreign shore. But when my mates all ask me the place that I adore, I tell them right away. What do we tell them? Give me a home among the gum trees with lots of plum trees. A sheep, a two, a kangaroo, a clothesline out the back, veranda out the front, and an old rocking chair. You can see me in the kitchen cooking up a roast of Vegemite on toast, just you and me, a cup of tea. Later on we'll settle down and go out on the porch and watch the possums play. Hey, true blue, don't say you've gone. Say you've knocked off for a smoker and you'll be back later on. Hey, true blue, hey, true blue, give it to me straight, face to face. Are you really disappearing? Just another dying race. Hey, true blue, true blue, is it me and you? Is it mom and dad? Is it a cockatoo? Is it standing by your mate when he's in a fight? Or will she be right? True blue, I'm asking you. Hey, true blue, can you bear the load? Will you tie it up with wire just to keep the show on the road? Hey, true blue, hey, true blue, can be fitting. Is your heart still there? If they sell us out like sponge cake, do you really care? Hey, true blue, true blue, is it me and you? Is it mom and dad? Is it a cockatoo? Is it standing by your mate
If there's ever a song that makes you want to cry, it's that one, True Blue, John Williamson. But for some reason, I want to burst out into song in the chorus during it. Beautiful choice of music and definitely True Blue. After the service today, you are invited to Celeste Cottage, which is on the grounds of the cemetery, so you can continue to share your many memories with each other and his family today. Tom Lyons, who is a great friend of Barry's, and he'll come forward to recount some of the stories of his good friend. He has been given a time limit, but I'm not sure he'll stick to it.
I'm on a time limit, so I shall be short and sharp, just like Barry.
Do you want to stand?
Not so short.
Turn it around and stand in your chair.
Good morning. My name's Tom Lyons, and I'm proud to bring you a proud history of Barry. As you all would know, Barry was the secretary manager of Kingsgrove RSL Club for 26 years, of which I became a member around 1980 and found my way onto the board as a director around 87. Eventually I was elected president. Many people thought that Barry and I were so opposite that we'd never get along. Not so. We were so unalike, but we were always able to reach consensus and general agreement most times. He was to retire, but stayed on another year to help me, you reckon? I reckon he stayed on to keep me in line. Barry taught me a lot about the hospitality industry, people management and business skills, of which he was a master. He was well known and respected in the Club Management Association and was made a life member. He was also awarded the Life Achievement Award of the RSL for his devoted work towards the RSL membership, for whom he went out of his way to assist. Later in life, he became an affiliate and active committee member of Penshurst sub-branch, where he brought expertise in promotion and used his many years' experience in bringing the life stories of many servicemen and women to the public. If you knew Barry, you would know he was a great photographer and never afraid to stick his camera in your face for a photo shoot that he inevitably got in the local newspaper, the St George Leader, so long as he was in the photo. He was a great military historian and so proud of his grandfather, who was a colour sergeant in the British Army. He wrote a book based on his grandfather's exploits in the Boer War. He wrote that book. Anyone would like to have a look at it? I believe the family's got copies. Moving right along. He could have been in a wheelchair. Okay. You shouldn't have said that. He wrote that book for the posterity of his family and the history, and so that his proud history of your family will be there forevermore. He was a proud member of the First Fleeters and took pride in that part of his family history also. He told me I was a convict, and something else I can't repeat here. Barry was born in Innisfail, Queensland, on the 23rd of the 2nd, 1932, as Brian has already told you. He has a sister Billy. Later, the family moved to Longreach. You could smell the gum leaves. Then he attended boarding school in Brisbane. He was a high school army cadet and loved the army regimentation. He was one of the most regimented men I've ever met. He also loved cricket and played rugby league. He was an A-grade opening batsman in Brisbane also. You'd never know it, but Barry's first job was as a roustabout in the shearing sheds, where his boarding school educated manner landed in the job as the union delegate. You would never know it, but Barry's first job was to sack the cook, which no one else would do or was going to do. The cook rode a motorbike and rode off after Barry sacked him. Well, the grazier pulled Barry in and said, "What the hell have you done? Where are we going to get another cook? Go and get him and come back, bring him back." Barry had to run after the cook who had got stuck in the mud after the rain. He had to negotiate with the irate cook and successfully got the cook to come back. But he had to push him on the motorbike all the way back in the rain. Barry's next job after school was with Dalgetty's as a stock and station agent. He followed the cattle prices on the ABC landline for the rest of his life. He then moved to Sydney and married, had 2 boys, Brian and Graham, who join us today, and we share their loss of their father. As we do for the grandson Carl, Gemma, and the other extended family. I especially want to acknowledge Barry's lifelong friend, Leslie Moses. Carl is an A-grade cricketer like himself and Barry attended many matches watching him play. Barry mentored Carl to stand for captain, which he did. This made Barry very proud. In his work life, Barry joined his father as a cellarman at Smithfield Hotel, then the King's Head Tavern, as Brian has told you, then he moved to Kingsgrove RSL Club. Barry knew every member by name. Every representative, every shopkeeper in the area, everyone he knew. Back in 1990, there was a tsunami that hit Aitapi in the northern New Guinea, where the grandchildren of the old Fuzzy Wuzzy Angels who carried our wounded Australian diggers along the Konkota track and to safety in World War II. Many of these children lost arms and legs in the flying sheds of roof iron that swept about the village, causing massive loss of limbs during the tsunami. The next day, Barry came knocking on my door and asked me, "What are we going to do for these children?" He was in tears. He passionately felt we owed the Fuzzy Wuzzy Angels some help as he raised $14,000 towards obtaining prosthetics for the kids. Barry didn't want anyone to know it was him behind the scenes organising the fundraising, and I told Barry, "Watch out, Dad, or people will realise you're a human being after all." A softy underneath. Thus, he helped many younger graduates through. We have a lot of the people who work at the club are university students, and Barry helped a lot of those young students through university. I know of many instances where he helped people out of his own pocket for those in need, but don't tell him I told you that. Barry had moths growing in his wallet. Barry helped the careers of many junior club managers even after they left Kingsgrove to expand their horizons. And he went out of his way to remain a mentor to those young managers, male and female. If you serve your time as a junior under Steve-O, you served under the best, and that was recognised as such. So too the various chairmen and directors of the various clubs who are present, and I'd like to acknowledge those people for their presence. Nearly there. Being the all-round sportsman he was, he captained Kingsgrove RSL Cricket Club in a social round-robin tournament of 7 local clubs, all social where everyone had to have a bat and a bowl. We happily agreed to this, except Barry, being the cricket purist, wouldn't let us take a beer in the field. Everybody else will let us take a beer, except Barry's team. He even made his team wear whites. And we gave him hell about this, but that was Barry. If you're going to do it, you do it the best. Barry was a great fisherman and former captain of the Kingsgrove RSL Club Fishing Club, where he gave many a fresh fish feed away to those lucky enough to be around after the weigh-in. The downside was that having to listen to his bragging rights, which were never ending, and that long, the fish I'm talking about. I had two uncles killed in action in France in World War I and Pozieres. When visiting the Western Front, my uncles' graves, Barry and Brian, conducted two small graveside services with Australian flags, one at Pozieres and one in Southampton, England. It gives you an idea of the background of Barry Stevenson and his family. Barry and Brian also attended the dawn service at Gallipoli, and Barry brought back a stone from the shoreline at Gallipoli for me as a memento. Barry would shed a tear when he spoke of Gallipoli, of all those brave soldiers lost fighting for the freedom we all enjoy today. That's just a small portion of the type of man Barry Stevenson was. A great mate and true friend. A fighter, staunch to the end. A leader, a statesman, orator. Hard as nails, old bugger, but a better mate you could not have. With a hard exterior, but with generosity of spirit, that I'm very proud to have had him as a mate. I will miss him with our wonderful good-natured arguments and watching the cricket together, knocking back a cold one. Our hearts go out to Brian and Graham and the rest of the family, and we feel for them. The best thing you could say about Barry is that he is a true Australian. Dinky die, but most of all a bloody Queenslander. If you're lucky enough to have Steve as a mate, you had a good friend for the rest of your life.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you. You did good.
How'd I go?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Tom. It's very difficult to come and stand up here and talk about someone that you love very dearly or you've been mates with for a very long time. I'd like you're coming back, Tom. You haven't finished? Oh. I thought you were going to speak from the seat. I'd like you all to put your hands together for the people who have spoken today with love and humour, please. As you well know, Barry loved his fishing, so I'd like to read this poem in honour of that fishing. I've finished life's chores assigned to me, so put me on a boat headed out to sea. Please send along my fishing pole, for I've been invited to the fishing hole, where every day is a day to fish, to fill your heart with every wish. Don't worry or feel sad for me. I'm fishing with the master of the sea. We will miss each other for a while, but you will come and bring your smile. That won't be long, you will see, till we're together, you and me. To all of those who think of me, be happy as I go out to sea. If others wonder why I'm missing, just tell them I've gone a-fishing. At the end of the service today, if you could kindly remain seated until Southern Cross can come forward to assist Barry's family with placing some flowers with him as a loving tribute, and then they will help them from the chapel. Barry was a true blue Queenslander, through and through, and so am I, so I'm proud of that too. Always proud of his home state to the very end. Barry was a cheeky larrikin who enjoyed sharing a joke and having a good laugh. Barry had the gift of the gab and could talk to anyone about anything. Kind and caring, Barry's generosity knew no bounds. He devoted much of his time and effort to raising money for various deaf charities and the Ted Knopf's Foundation. Barry never complained about the pain he endured. He faced it with toughness and stoicism that spoke volumes about his character. He tackled every challenge with a hard-working and industrious attitude. Yet, beneath his strong exterior was a heart as warm as the Queensland sun. Barry's love for his family was immense, and he would do anything to help them. Barry was always there to support Carl in his cricket endeavours. He'd critique Carl's team with the enthusiasm of a seasoned coach, all while sharing his vast knowledge of sports with anyone who'd listen. Barry's passion for sport extended beyond the cricket field. He was a committed volunteer for the Paralympics in Sydney, a once-in-a-lifetime moment that he was very, very proud of. As you've heard, he loved his fishing, which would truly relax him. Foster was the go-to spot, taking his boat out to sea where he'd cast the line, hoping for a catch of flathead. I did see a couple of nice sized flatheads in those photos. Brian told me that there were times he'd be 15 kilometres out to sea, and he'd only told them that he'd only be about 7, it'd be okay, but 15 was about it. Barry was a supportive dad to Brian and Graham, and he was a proud and loving, caring pa to Carl and Gemma, an adoring great pa to his beloved Mia, and a good friend to many. As we say farewell to Barry, we remember him as the country boy from Queensland, with the endless capacity for kindness and zest for life. His legacy will live on in the countless lives he touched and the memories that he has created, forever in our hearts. Until we meet again, farewell, Barry.